We're back for another round of the OPOP League. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to take a look at a couple of decks in combat up against Zapdos TCG in the OPOP League, Omnipoke League. We are back for it. We've got some solid games coming up, I hope. I've got some cool decks. I'm going to play Coalossal, which is sweet. And hopefully we come out on top. You know, we'll see how we go. We'll jump across to PTCGO and take you through the decks that I'll be playing, and then we'll get into some gameplay. So the decks that we are going to be playing are the first three on the screen, ADP, Centiskorch, and Coalossal, and we're going to play them in that order no matter what. If we win the first game, we are going second in the second game, because presumably they're going to choose, right? That doesn't matter. We're going to play Centiskorch second, we're going to play Coalossal third. If we get to a third game, we'll play Coalossal last. I really like all three of these decks. Centiskorch at the moment is really, really good, so I'm really enjoying that. And if you want to see these decks, lots of them have been featured already on the channel. Subscribe and you can see them. Like this video as well so that more people can check it out. We'll just very quickly walk through the list. Here is our ADP Z list that I'm going to be running today. Yep. Nothing interesting to say there. Here's Centiskorch. We've got a couple of interesting inclusions here. Things like Giratina, very, very strong to remove metal, what's it called? Metal energy, the special metal energy that removes weakness. Very, very good. We've got Marshadow so that we can play down Giant Hearth as well. And also a really cool tech card, Mallow and Lana, which is very, very useful for Centiskorch. So a very, very cool list. I've been enjoying this one a bunch. We'll play that second if given the chance. And then Coalossal, the same Coalossal deck that we've featured on the channel before. Very, very strong. And we'll play that third if it comes down to it. So let's jump across to the games now, and hopefully we have some good ones for you today. Game 1 against Zapdos TCG. We'll see how this goes. I've elected to play ADP. Hopefully this works out for the best. We've lost the coin flip, which is disappointing. But we don't mind too much. Just, of course, depends on what we are playing against. We've got Oranguru in hand. We've got the Dene as well. I don't mind that at all. And we've got a Zacian start, which is better than nothing. And we'll be playing against Coalossal. Okay, so we've seen this matchup from the other side. We'll see whether or not we can actually pull off a win against Coalossal VMAX here. And this will be really, really interesting because I don't think this is easy by any stretch, although if Zapdos TCG needs to play down supporters like Dedenne, then we could potentially find ourselves in a winning spot. He's got the Rotom phone as well, so he's obviously got a pretty good list. We've got Energy Switch, we've got all sorts. Unfortunately, though, we don't have access to the ADP, which is quite unfortunate. If we had have started Oranguru, we would have been able to get the energy on here, but unfortunately, I think we're going to have to just accept the fact that we're missing the Saucer here. I think it's going to be more likely that we need the Energy Switch. So let's do that. We can Pokemon Catcher, I guess. There's no reason not to do that. That seems fine. And then we can Dedenne, and we obviously get the Energy Switch, but we need Metal Saucer as well. Here's a copy of Energy Spinner, which seems pretty good. I will only grab the water, because I can discard the metal, which will find us another card of some description. I'm not entirely sure exactly what it should be. It could potentially be another Zacian, because I know that I'm going to need a lot of them. We'll play that down, and then we will play Crobat. I'm going to find Metal Saucer here. Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? We find 3 energy switches. Let's Cherish Ball and see what we can find. There's 1 left and 2 sources left in deck. So it is almost impossible for that play to happen. I'm just going to Intrepid Sword here and hope for the best. We actually got the 4th energy switch off of the Intrepid Sword. So if we had have gone for the research, we would have found that energy switch. Oh my goodness. unfortunate to say the very least. But this is okay. We don't mind if they go for a bit of a sketchy play here. We're actually in a weirdly bad spot considering the fact that we don't have a switch out yet. But we are likely to find one. So we shouldn't worry too much. We have 3 sources and 3 energy in the bin, which is fine. And the Rotom phone is going ham here. Obviously, Oranguru will be able to grab that card straight away if he so desires. Professor's Research, also a pretty good card. There was the Surfetch, so we could have gone for a cheeky Mawile there. That would have given us a potential out to some more cards. There is the switch as well. Do we see the Oranguru to put the energy on the top of the deck, or is it going to be a hopeful one at best? It looks like the way we are playing here that yes, they are going to be able to find that energy. Primate Wisdom, that's probably an energy to the top of the deck, and then an attack for 130 damage. I think it is 140 damage because of the stadium. Okay, we find an energy, which is fabulous. We obviously do want that. Now, here's a question. Do we ever want Energy Switch again? Because, frankly, I don't think we do. So let's just get rid of them all. Yes, I am aware that we are getting rid of our hand. A ton of energy switches, which is unfortunate, but hey, we found the switch, which is the most important thing. I will Oranguru the Professor's Research to the top of the deck so that we can get ourselves a attack next turn. If we need to, we can research. I like knocking out the Oranguru, but I also like knocking out, getting some damage onto Coalossal before things go really, really bad. Here comes another VMAX. We're going to try and Mallow and Lana between the two of these, obviously. We could, if this hand is bad, it's not. Okay. So I'm glad that we put the research on the top. We have research in hand. We just need to find an energy, which we do. Here comes a Pokédoll. Have they got the guaranteed energy? You would presume so. And then they'll hit for 140. Now, I've got no way of removing this stadium, but I am at least going to be able to get an attack off here, which is very good. In fact, I almost think that it is fine to just attack here without researching. Just make it look like we've got a really bad hand. It might mean that things kind of swing in our favour a little bit. We do need to hope that Mallow and Lana isn't in our opponent's hand, though. That would be very, very bad. Mallow and Lana into that Lily's Pokédoll, and this game would be effectively over. Wait and see what it is that they are going to choose to do. Here comes a Quick Ball. Now we're dealing 260 to this Coalossal. If we do hit into the Coalossal for 260, that'll be a total of 420, or something similar, which is a pretty significant bop, if you don't mind me saying. There's a Dedenne as well. Okay, so we are going to be able to try and get that into the active to knock it out for 3 prizes at some point. If we could find it. Maybe I should have researched, actually. I didn't know that he was going to play down a Dedenne, though, so no shame in that. Looks like here's another attachment, and an air balloon is going to go onto the Oranguru. We'll probably see the Pokédoll disappear here, and a knockout. They're actually going to just choose to knock out the Zacian, which is fair and reasonable. Now what do we need to do? We need to attach Double Saucer to this Zacian, and then knock out this Coalossal if we can. That's the play. That is the play. Okay, so I think we're going to promote the Dedenne, because if we don't get this knockout this turn, we lose anyway. So let's have a look. What have we got access to? We've got 1 switch, 2 air balloon, water, and 2 metal sources. I'm going to grab the Mawile. I'm going to Quick Ball away the research. We'll just see if we can grab another Zacian here. We never power that Zacian up. So I am going to Mawile just to see if we can't grab something else here. because, yeah, like I said, we never get that knockout. The knockout that we are looking for is the one in the active, if it's even possible. Well, if it's possible, we've got all the pieces for it. Let's have a think here. I'm doing 260 minus, so it's going to go down to 220, 380. I think this is going to be enough. I'm going to Primate Wisdom the boss's orders to the top. So then if we get Marnied, I've at least got an out. And I think this is a knockout, but please, I'm not sure. It is. Perfect. Okay, so we managed to steal 4 prizes there. I've got the boss on the top, so if the Marnie is the thinning of choice, then we have access to it. We grabbed another boss off of that there, and we've got multiple switches as well. So having that Dedenne on our opponent's side of the field is good. The Oranguru is also an out for us. As long as we don't get reset stamped into nothing, we have a chance to win the game. And this is why Mallow and Lana is so important for this deck. There's a Marnie, so that's really good for us. We are going to be able to get the boss off of the top deck. Hopefully there's no stamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got access to pretty much every card that we would potentially need if something were to go wrong. But yeah, like I said, if there is Mallow and Lana on that Coalossal, I can never knock it out, which makes it almost impossible to win the game. So it is not an unwinnable matchup at all. It's just disappointing for ZapdosTCG that he had to play down the Dedenne, because it means that it gives me options to take knockouts. Obviously, the Oranguru are both options to knock out with the ADP now, and I think I've pretty much locked this one up. And a great catcher here, and bring up something. Looks like they're going to bring up the Dedenne. They're obviously going to go take 2 prizes if they can. They're going to Primate Wisdom and go looking for an energy, perhaps. Maybe they already had one in hand. Great ball to shuffle the deck. Do they have access to energy? I hope so. Oh, the second Primate Wisdom. Is that the energy that they just got? Eruption Shot, it was not, but that's okay. They can still take the knockout because of the stadium. Now we are in a winning position. We have Zacian, we have Gust. So all we need to do is just boss up the Dedenne and then Brave Blade. Whew. We got away with that one there. Game 1 goes to us. ADP wins it, but only just. Into Game 2, ZapdosTCG will be going first, so I've elected to use Centiskorch, like I said at the start of the video. If I do go second at any point, I'll just play Centiskorch, worst case scenario. And look at this. Oh my goodness, this is a brilliant hand to go first with. We've got Volcanion and we've got Centiskorch that we can use pretty comfortably here. I'll play them both down. It looks like an Oranguru. So we may see Coalossal again here. And this is another tough matchup for Coalossal. Especially if I get going early. If I can build a really, really large Centiskorch VMAX that doesn't get hit at all, then this is going to be a really, really good spot for me. And I will say that this Centiskorch list that I'm playing at the moment has 1 copy of Mallow and Lana in it, which will be very, very helpful in this particular matchup. So I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be easy, because it won't. But it is a very, very strong spot for us to be in, especially considering the start that we have right now. So we're going to see a Crobat for an extra 6 cards. It's pretty solid. They're pretty free in games that aren't against ADP. We still need to take 3 knockouts. So we're going to need to take out 1 Coalossal VMAX and then a couple of other support Pokemon as well. So it's not too bad. It's obviously that ADP matchup where this becomes a bit of a problem. But yeah, I'm kind of in a position where I think I can sit back and just wait. Looks like we are seeing another... That was another martial arts dojo in the bin. We're seeing another Coalossal come down. What we could do, actually, is before we play down the Fire Energy, we can Pokegear. See if we find a Welder. We don't. I'm going to attach here. And I think... Like, this sounds a little bit silly. But I feel like it might just be best to Flare Starter. Because we can just put 3 energy on this Centiskorch and we've got the VMAX in hand. We are under no pressure to do anything else. So let's do that. I could have potentially got rid of the Martial Arts Dojo, but I'm not too worried at the moment. The most damage that they can ever do to my Centiskorch is 140, which we can easily Mallow Lana off later. And it is unlikely that they'll knock out the VMAX after that. Plus, we can hold on to the Quick Ball. We can use it to get ourselves an extra few cards with Crobat and try and get some knockouts from there. So, I don't mind this play at all. I am probably going to lose my Volcanion, which is fine. We just put the Centiskorch VMAX in the active, and away we go. Here comes the Coalossal. There's 2 energy on it, 2 stone energy on it already, and that buff padding, so it's got 380 HP, and it's going to reduce the amount of hits that it's going to take by a bunch. We are in a bit of trouble if it does. Oh my goodness, that's a disappointing top deck. I think we still... What we can do... Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to Crobat if we can. We can. We've also got Giratina, right? So we can potentially remove one of those stone energies as well. I'm going to attach to Centiskorch and then Crobat and keep this Welder in hand, which I really, really like. Unfortunately, we don't get too much. We've got the Eldegoss, so we can Welder to the active here. We can replace the Stadium, which is good. We can play down another Centiskorch. And I think it might be worth going for our good friend Giratina here. We can Giratina away one of those energies on the Coalossal and make it that much harder for our opponent to try and get a knockout. I will grab a couple of energies. We'll discard that Heatran, and then we will G-Max Centinferno for a bunch of damage. It's going to be 220 damage, which is a half hit, and we get an extra energy on there. Now, we are not getting knocked out next turn by any attack. We can get half hit, but we've got the one shot, and we've got Welder onto a second Centiskorch VMAX on the bench. So that Giratina provides a lot of security in this matchup, makes it a little bit easier to navigate, considering the fact that now it's going to be a lot harder for our opponent to half hit our VMAXs, because they need to decide now, okay, are we going to commit to this active, or are we going to try and do something else? And it looks like something else is the play. We're going to see the energies going on to Galarian Sirfetch'd, which I don't dislike at all. It's going to create a situation for us where we need to decide, okay, do we knock out the active, do we take the knockout on the active, or do we try and gust around it? What do we do? For me right now, I really like the knockout. We take the knockout, we evolve our benched VMAX. We take 2 prizes, we've got an extra couple of prizes on the bench. If we can, there's that Mallow and Lana as well, so we might keep that secret. We'll use Eldegoss and grab ourselves Welder. We'll play those 2 energies onto the bench. We will evolve. I'm going to get rid of one of our Pokecoms here to grab 2 more fire energies. I will manually attach one to the bench, and then we can G-Max Centinferno, take the knockout on the active, and potentially put ourselves in a position to knock out that VMAX next turn. And we've got a Welder as well, which is fantastic. That switch also really, really good. Means that we can Mallow and Lana if we don't get knocked out, although I will say I am fully expecting to be knocked out by a VMAX at some point soon. If we don't get knocked out, I think we just win. I think it's as simple as that. If we don't get knocked out, we win. If we do get knocked out, then we Giant Hearth, away the Pokecom, we Welder, we get ourselves a second VMAX going, and try and win the game from there. But it will be quite tough. We are, of course, assuming that they do take the knockout. If there's no knockout, they'd probably want to do it with a fresh VMAX as well. If there's no knockout, then they are potentially a little bit too far behind to win this one. At the moment, the thing that I'm most worried about is a second VMAX. If they get a second VMAX, then I don't think we're ever going to be able to reach it. VMAXs have 330 HP, so I don't think that it's going to be possible. We are getting Marnied, so that's disappointing. We had all the cards that we wanted in our hand, so that is a bit of a sad time, but we give ourselves a pretty good chance to get into the stuff that we need. We've got Fire Crystal here. They did end up finding that second VMAX. And then they can Rotom Phone. As long as we take a knockout on one of them, we've got a chance to win the game, right? We've just got to take a knockout on this VMAX. If we do that, then we've got a chance to win. Here comes the Eruption Shot. They take the knockout. We're going to go into our second VMAX. We've also got a reset stamp, so we can stamp them to 2, which is very good. They're going to be reducing the amount of damage that we deal by 20. Oh my goodness, we just get the second Eldegoss off of the top there. That is pretty impressive. What I will do then is I will play down that Weldegoss. We'll grab We'll grab the Eldegoss. I will play Fire Crystal. We will grab our 3 Fire Energies back. And now we're at a point where we can stack these bad boys on, because it does not matter, realistically, about anything else in this game. We stamp them to 2. We hold our hand as it is. In fact, we probably discard the Centiskorch because it doesn't matter and grab out these Fire Energies. And then we take the knockout. And hopefully, this is enough to win us the game. We have 2 Pokegears and also a Dedenne to try and find ourselves a boss. And hopefully they don't get a chance to use Reset Stamp on us here. Actually, that Welder will put us into a position where we don't actually even need to find boss, because we can just knock out this Coalossal in one shot. So that's pretty solid, if you ask me. I'm frankly very happy with the way that this has gone. Centiskorch at the moment is my most favoured deck. Oh, there you go. They do have the boss off of the stamp. Oh my goodness! What were the chances of that happening? Oh well. Here I was thinking that I was going to win that one, and unfortunately they just had the boss. Into our third and final game now. I'm going to play Coalossal of my own, because ZapdosTCG has been playing it, so I may as well give it a go. I've elected to go second, so that is what I will choose, and we'll see what happens here. I am not 100% super confident, to be honest. This hand is not good. And if we're playing against something, yep, ADP or Lucametal Zacian, we could be in a lot of problems here. Intrepid Sword, so they're not doing a lot just yet. But they've got a big hand. We might even reset stamp them. I think that might actually be the best way to go, surprisingly enough. Let's reset stamp them down to a low hand size. I know they didn't have much, but they must have had something. And then we can Rotom Phone. I need a, yep, Coalossal. That's great. Although, to be fair, I think the Marnie could just be better. Let's grab that Marnie. We will use Oranguru and put the... let's go with... Oh, we're going to definitely use the Air Balloon. So let's put the Air Balloon on top of the deck. I say that because we're going to draw that off of this Marnie, and then we're going to attach that and Gourmandize, right? So it means that we get one less good card that we want, but we at least get access to a pretty solid, solid draw here. So we don't have the energy to attach, but we don't really need it just yet. We will throw this Coalossal down, and then let's rip the Gourmandize. We'll draw 5 cards here, and we've got ourselves energy and also a stone energy to put onto a VMAX if we find one. And look at this, we are playing ADP. So we're going to see a mirror of that first game. We will see whether or not we can get ourselves a strong start. Here comes the switch, energy switch. So they've got everything that they needed. We just need to find the stadium here. So I think we could potentially be using Rotom Phone to go looking for the VMAX. And then we'll see how it goes from there. We will Cynthia and Caitlin though. That will get rid of one of the Snorlaxes in our hand. We've got Switch. We can move some stuff around. I think we could be in a good spot, but it is going to be tough to say the very least. It's hard to beat ADP. We top deck a Marnie, which is, you know, acceptable. We're going to play... we're going to play Cynthia and Caitlin here. We will discard the Snorlax. I know that there's a part of me that's like, we could have played the Marnie to see more cards, but this is probably the best way. We've got Rotom Phone twice now, so we can go looking for a couple of cards. We want the VMAX, please. Give me the VMAX. Oh my goodness. Okay, now what do we do? Now what do we do? We play down the Stone Energy. We play down the Martial Arts Dojo. We put a Marnie on top, just in case, and then we Gormandize and hope for the best. I think that's pretty much all we can do. Well, we've lost this one, which means we've lost the set. How disappointing. No VMAXs coming our way at all. And yes, that means that they're going to take 2 prizes, which means that they are in a position where they can very easily just go forward and take the win. So they'll accelerate to energy to a Zacian. We won't be able to knock out a ADP. Even being a turn behind is a bit rough here. Yeah, it's not lucky at all. We're in a bit of strife. I mean, we could still potentially come back and win because we do have Mallow and Lana, and that's pretty much all we need. But we do have to find the VMAX to ever have a chance of winning the game. We cannot attack with the basic at all. Luckily, they didn't just gust it out and kill it, which is also something that ADP can do. Big Charm going down onto the Zacian, but it's actually been really frustrating on the active. So I'm glad that that's the case, and we're accelerating to that benched Zacian as well. Now I want to hold on to this Mallow and Lana if I can, but if I have to, I'll be attaching Stone Energy and then Marnieing. And I think that looks like it's going to have to be the situation here. I'm going to remove one of the Marnies from my hand. We'll get the Snorlax and put that at the bottom of the deck as well. There are 3 VMAXs in the deck, so we have an opportunity to get them. We just need to get them. So let's go for it. We've got buff padding, buff padding. We are not having any luck here at all. Let's put the Mallow and Lana on top, because we're not likely to get the VMAX, and then we put the buff padding down, we retreat into a Pokédoll, and we hope for the best. We hope for the best here, ladies and gentlemen. We are not putting a ton of pressure on. This is bad. Very bad, especially if they gust. If they gust here, then the game is over. Crushing Hammer also sucks. Crushing Hammer in ADP. Horrific. Horrific scenes. If we do manage to find a VMAX and an Energy, though, we do have a pretty solid chance of being able to play out the game. Like, it's not a horrible position to be in, but getting half hit here would be horrifically bad. So I really want to avoid that if I can. Here comes an Energy Spinner. Like, we're not completely out of the game, but missing 2 attacks is really horrific. It's not good at all. And we don't have access to the stadium because of Chaotic Swell. Here comes a Crobat. They're looking for the Gust. Gust that Coalossal and hit into it, and there's nothing much more that I can do. I could Mallow and Lana and hope. But that's not really going to... It's not really going to do it for me. Here's the boss, so the game is pretty much over here. It is unfortunate to say the very least, and they removed the buff padding. So that is well played. GG to Zapdos. He ends up winning. Should have played a better deck than Coalossal. ADP ends up winning the day. I will just put the Oranguru in the active and pass, because there is nothing that I can do. Yeah, big smiley face. Well done. Good games, mates. Ugh, what a terrible, terrible deck this has turned out to be today. We just didn't do anything. We just didn't do anything. Let's see what we would have got. Card would have been nice. We will concede. Thank you very much. Good games. And we go down 2-1. I thought I had it in the second game there. I cannot believe that that stamp to 2 didn't work out for me, but you know the rules. It says reset stamp, shuffle your opponent's hand into the deck and draw cards equal to the number of prize cards they have remaining, and the cards that they have remaining are the ones that win them the game. That's what it says on the card, so I can 100% understand why that happened. Disappointing to say the least, and then a complete dud from Coalossal at the end, but that's okay. I think there are some pretty good matchups that represent the format relatively well. Thank you to ZapdosTCG TCG for your gameplay today. I really appreciate it. It's always good to have some strong competitors. And thank you to OPOP League and all the people that have supplied deck lists and all that good stuff. Really appreciate it. And thank you to you for liking and subscribing and doing all those kind of things. It's a good one. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you very much, everyone. Without further ado, I will leave it there. If you want to see more, subscribe down below, and I will see you next time. More from the Sableyes. Bye.